I've got an electric truck and I've got some solar panels. I should be able to charge my truck with these panels. How hard could it possibly be? I am embarrassed to admit that I have had 6 brand new 400-watt solar panels sitting in the back of my garage for probably 2 years now. And with a little back of the envelope ChatGPT math, I think I can actually get 10 kilowatt hours of energy out of those panels every single day, averaged over the entire year, good days, bad days, all days. And according to my power bill, I pay, averaged out with all the fees, peak use, off use, all use, I pay 37 cents per kilowatt hour. So every day I don't have those panels collecting sweet, sweet sunshine, I am missing out on $3.70 of production over an entire year. That's $1,300, which also means the panels would have already paid for themselves by now. And as you may already know from the last video, my truck has a massive 131 kilowatt hour battery. So if I'm trying to fill up the truck from 0% to 100%, it would take 13 days. And that does sound kind of lame. It's much like trying to fill up a swimming pool with a garden hose. But that garden hose is dripping $3.70 a day, 26 bucks a week, 100 bucks a month. So I actually think that it's a benefit that my truck battery is so big because there will always be room to dump power into it. But here's the rub. You need a lot of stuff in between the panels and the truck. I have been absolutely paralyzed by the decisions you have to make to capture the sun, turn it into electricity, batteries, inverters. It is just overwhelming, but today I am just gonna steamroll forward. Whether it's good or bad, I just have to get something done. So let's begin with the solar panels. I actually have these 6 leftover panels because I built a massive 24 panel off-grid system at my property in Plumas County. I had actually meant to do 30, but I got so tired of digging all the holes and setting the concrete piers that 24 was enough. That setup has been fantastic. I went all out. It was expensive, but now I've got some experience under my belt. This area of the yard currently serves as a toilet for the neighborhood cats, so what better place to clean up, move everything out, and get the solar panels down. I've got all 6 panels wired up in series. They add up to 205 volts. And on the best of days, which will probably never happen, they should be able to output 2,400 watts. And this is definitely a strange setup because it's bigger than the solar panels that usually come with portable power stations that I almost think are like toy solar panels. You set them up at a campsite, and then it's much smaller than a full-on rooftop installation. So it's kind of a weird category. I would think that some of the nicer power stations that put out a lot of power would actually be able to handle a lot of solar, but that is just not the case. They can't take the real high voltage, and it's such a shame. Bluetti actually sells an add-on for $700 that allows you to take 4,000 watts of solar, and it's like, it's too much. Finding the right size all-in-one inverter charge controller was actually quite the hunt, but I did eventually come across this VEVOR unit. It can handle up to 4,000 watts of high voltage solar, and it can export. It can output 3,000 watts of 120 volt AC. And it was only $309 on Amazon. I did buy the little add-on $40 insurance, just in case. But of course, there's always trade-offs, the biggest one being that this all-in-one unit runs off of 24 volt power. Everything else has kind of moved on to 48 volt power now. But it just so happens I've got 2 12-volt batteries from Battleborn that have been sitting around. I had them in my van a while back, so hopefully I can run them in series, get up to 24 volts, and everything will be golden. Okay, time to start building, and I am gonna build this thing up on a hand truck, which is one of my favorite YouTubers, Common Method. Will Prowse taught me everything I know about electricity. I think it's gonna work here. So here's the general idea. We got the 2 batteries on the bottom. We get the all-in-one inverter right here, and it's a self-contained device. Okay, got my mounting plate. Perfectly portable. So now the big wires on the big batteries are gonna be the main problem. Then I'll figure out a way to strap them in. I got the two batteries wired together. I measured the voltage and it is abysmal, so I need to charge the two batteries as a unit to get back up to 24 volts. I know Battleborn Batteries has come under fire as of late, but if I can recharge these batteries back up and they work, that's fantastic. They've been sitting around for years in the worst hot and cold conditions. Actually, I take that back. I just watched the latest Will Prowse update video about Battleborn batteries, and I need to get these things gone. You know what they always say, when you're not feeling good and your voltage is sagging, you just gotta believe. Okay, we're cranking away here, getting 18 amps into the batteries. The voltage is coming up remarkably, so hopefully we can get it up to 24 and then we can start the project. The batteries are wired up, powered up. I flipped the breaker in the back. Now I'm gonna turn this on, see what happens. Hello? Let's make sure I got 24 volts here. No, 7.8 volts. That's not good. Wow, I gotta put it on the charger a lot more. I thought I did, thought I had it. So while I wait for the batteries to charge, I got my positive plugged in, I got my negative plugged in, and they are plugged into this really nice big PV disconnect switch. I turned it on, put my multimeter on there, I'm getting 205 volts. And now the wire that goes from this switch has a normal MC4 connector on it, but on the other side, I've got this square ferrule, so it can actually go into the inverter a little bit nicer. Always a nice little tight spot. Get it nice and tight, give it a real tug. I also need to wire up the AC out. The whole point of this system is to get 120 volt AC power out. And for this first version, I'm just gonna cut an extension cord in half. It's a nice one, it's heavy duty. Okay, I got the batteries charged up to 26 volts, which is probably still not enough, but it's enough to kind of maybe play around here. I've got the AC outlet going, hook up my multimeter, 120 volts on the way out. Now let's flip the switch and connect the solar panels. Little input starts, I see it. It's detecting. Can barely read this screen. Okay, I found it. 1.44 kilowatts going in to the batteries. We are up and running. It is a little loud. That's kind of how it goes though. The panels definitely have a little shade here, and basically because they're wired up in series, anytime there's some shading, all the panels get brought down. I knew that location was gonna be tough, but it's just the best, easiest spot to get this first version up and running. Like I said, I've spent 2 years thinking about this stuff instead of just doing something about it and then iterating and improving along the way. I guess it's already time to plug the truck in. And yes, this is just the travel charger, not meant to be used all day, every day, as I do. There's a few other options on the market that I should probably look into. Especially since those dedicated chargers, you can change how much power output. If I wanted to just only output 200 watts, very, very small trickle all day, every day, you could do this. Instead, this is, you plug it in, you're getting 1200 watts, whether you like it or not. Need more extension cords. Here we go, living the dream. 1.5 kilowatts coming from the panels, 1.3 kilowatts going into the truck, off-grid, independent. Now that the hardest piece of the puzzle has fallen into place, the hardware is working fantastic. We need a little bit of software to manage things. I did give it a try where I just plugged in the truck and let it rip, left it on, plugged in for a day, and it just drains the batteries way too much, and then it takes forever the next day for the batteries to get up to charge. So I need to leave a little bit of reserve in the batteries to get the most out of the system. So I downloaded the companion app, which is not that great. It has a default 5-minute refresh rate. And if you want it to refresh every 5 seconds, you have to pay like $24 a year. So after a little bit of searching, I was actually able to find a Home Assistant add-on called iBond Local that fit the bill and did everything fantastically. I had to use the username and password I set up in the app, but then all the data is coming through every 10 seconds or so. And this is the holy grail because now I can use this software to track everything and to control when the truck starts charging and when it stops charging. I used ChatGPT to code up a couple different cards for my dashboard. The number one thing I want to know is how much energy I have delivered, not how much I've harvested, how much I've actually put into my truck. I want to see at a glance how much energy we've put in today, and then below we've got the weekly, the monthly, the yearly, and the all-time amount of energy. And instead of doing a kilowatt hour all-time, I did a dollar amount all-time. And then I've got a couple gauge cards that show the real-time solar input and how much the VEVOR is actually outputting, because those two numbers can be very different. And then below that, I've got a custom energy budget card that shows what's going on with my batteries. I want to squeeze every possible bit of energy out of the batteries without running them dry, so it's a very delicate dance. And then I've got an automation running in the background related to this budget card that tries to make sure we leave at least 1 kilowatt hour in the batteries in reserve. One problem that a lot of solar power systems like this one suffer from is when it's doing absolutely nothing, it's still taking up a decent amount of energy. 50 watts doesn't seem like that much, but if you multiply it by 12 hours, all of a sudden 600 watt hours, I could have put a decent amount of that into my truck. Oh yeah, and the hardware I'm using to actually turn on and off the truck power is a Grillplatz IKEA smart plug, which I don't think it's recommended to be used this way. I've now had a few days of live fire testing. It's actually running in the background here. Maybe the microphone is picking it up, maybe not. Man, I love watching the watts tick away into my truck. It is just everything I thought it would be. I did make a slight adjustment to the backyard in an attempt to boost the solar numbers. But every day since I cut down that tree has been cloudy in the morning. I think I can get maybe 2 extra hours of production, but that has not quite happened yet. So as it stands, I'm able to get 5 full blast hours of sunshine in the backyard where I'm putting power into the truck. 5 hours times 1.3 kilowatts is 6.5 kilowatt hours. And during the day, I definitely have a lot of excess production. I'm actually able to capture another 2 kilowatt hours in my batteries. Now, if I had much bigger batteries, the sky's the limit. I think I could gather even more sun every single day. But this is the bare bones setup. So let's do the math now. 8.5 kilowatt hours of energy when the truck is parked out front and the sun is shining all day. I would have been paying 37 cents for every kilowatt hour that I was putting in the truck. Instead, we're gonna offset that. So 8.5 kilowatt hours times 37 cents is $3.14 every day that I've got the truck parked out, soaking up the sunshine. That's $94 a month, just shy of my $100 a month goal. I bet if the sun was shining in the morning a little more, I could get there. So now let's do the full price breakdown based on Amazon products that you can click and order right now and the prices that I am seeing right now. Let's start out with the solar panels, and it's pretty amazing you can buy these on Amazon now because they are big and the shipping was a pain. When I bought them, I had to buy a pallet and then figure out how to get it back home. Much nicer to have these delivered to your door. 6 425 watt panels will cost you $1,620. That is far and away the biggest cost in this project, but 20 years from now, these solar panels will probably still be putting out power, maybe a little less than what they started with, but this is a long-term thing. You can keep using these panels. After the panels, you're gonna need some wire. The length may vary for your project, but I just mocked up a 50-foot length of red and black wire, 10 gauge. That will cost you 70 bucks. And this QR code is going to the project page where you can actually click and look at all this stuff. Then you need a solar disconnect switch. This one is really nice and easy. It was 36 bucks. Then you need some more 10 gauge wire, a shorter run at least, another 20 bucks. And then the workhorse of this entire project, the Vevor 3000 watt all-in-one inverter. And right now this thing is on sale for $269. I bought it for $309. After the inverter, you need wires that go to your battery. I used 2 gauge wires, and a length of 3 foot will set you back 32 bucks. I also put a 100 amp circuit breaker between the battery and the inverter just so I could switch it off, make it a little more safe. That thing is 20 bucks. And then you need another 2 gauge wire, and unfortunately they only sell these in 2-packs, so you need like another foot of 2 gauge, 20 bucks. Oh wait, it's 15 actually. And then the next big expense, a 24 volt, 100 amp hour battery. And this is where I highly suggest you want to go bigger than bare bones and get the 200 amp hour battery. It's another $300, but I just think that extra battery capacity is huge. You're gonna use it. But I'll still price this out as the bare bones route. I got my hand truck from Ace Hardware for 55 bucks. And I used some scrap 2x4s and some plywood I had laying around, as well as some 3/4 inch pipe strap. I'd say that's all about 10 bucks worth of stuff. So the grand total ended up $2,516 if you're starting from scratch today with the cheaper battery. So I need to run 6,800 kilowatt hours through this machine for it to pay me back, for it to break even. That's 801 days of the truck sitting in the driveway. And if the truck is charging at 1.3 kilowatts, it needs to sit in the driveway for 5,230 hours. That's a pretty long payback, but think of how many hobbies you have around the house, how much money you've spent where none of that actually came back. This is actually earning money back. Slowly but surely. And the big intangible here is the amazing ability to have a fully closed loop in case of an emergency. So if the power goes out for days, weeks, or months, I can handle it with my truck, with my panels. We have to reduce our power usage quite a bit, and we would need to be on a budget, but we would be able to ride out quite a bit of a disaster. We don't have a well, so it's not like we would have water. We would be able to charge our laptops in a disaster, I guess I should say. It is so cool to have these panels producing energy for me every single day. So much nicer than them sitting in the garage, gathering dust. But man, it's not enough. I just want to do more. I want to do more solar, more batteries, more power. Stay tuned because the wheels are spinning. I got a lot more to do.